Hey there, it's TRACI Morrow, and the first value I want to discuss is the value of servant leadership, which in effect says it's all about you. No, of course not. It means it is all about the people you and I serve. Zig Ziglar is famous for having said, if you help other people get what they want, you in the end will get what you want. But when we look after our own interests and what we want first, then we are at risk of manipulating people and using them. And this business is no different. And so what I want to talk to you about are a few things for you to ask of yourself. So you'll want to take some notes for this. And as you do, as always, I want you to think about what you will apply, what you need to change, and what you will want to teach to someone else. Because when you learn something on a deeper level, when you in turn say to somebody else who you care about, hey, you know what I just learned today? And when we can actually teach it and kind of regurgitate that information that we took in to somebody else, it goes into our brain on a different level and we remember it more easily. So I'm going to encourage you to, when you learn something, share it with someone who you know, who would have an interest and who might engage in a conversation with you that will help it drive just a little bit deeper inside. So I'm going to have you ask some questions of yourself. I want you to be really honest with yourself in some areas because we're only going to get better if we're really honest with one another, with ourselves first. So the first thing about servant leadership, I've got my notes here. I've written down 5 things that kind of are all-encompassing of servant leadership. And so the first one is to be available and to really listen. So many times as coaches, the first thing we do is try to tell them what they need, a challenge pack or Shakeology on Home Direct. But this is really being available and listening what it is they're looking for and what it is that they need. Really listening to someone helps us to find a solution for them that works for them and that doesn't just work for us, so we can check off 2 more points. The second thing a servant leader does is that we are authentic. We never pretend we've done something that we haven't done. We never pretend that we like something we don't like. It's perfectly okay to be authentic and honest. One of the things I'll use as an example is I don't care for chocolate. And so when I'm talking to someone, chocolate is the #1 Shakeology flavor. But for me, I don't like it. I think it tastes like cake batter for me, because I'm not a chocolate lover. So when I talk to people, I'll say, people on my team, my own adult kids, love the chocolate. It's not for me. So would you like to try a sample first to see if that's your flavor? When we're authentic with people, when we're honest, if I were to say, oh, it's all the best, it's the greatest, you've got to have it, then I'm not being authentic with them. So I'm going to be true to myself as I share with them and help to find solutions for their needs. So we are authentic. A servant leader is authentic. We build community. So we're not just trying to check off, did we sign up a new coach, or did we did we find somebody who bought something from us, and we kind of check it off almost in our brains. The temptation is to check it off in our brains that, like, we've got those 2 points, we've got our person for the month. Whew, breathe a sigh of relief. But when we are building community, we aren't just, trying to make a sale. We're trying to really bring in people who, like us, care about people, want to serve other people, and who have found these things to have worked for us, and to in turn turn around and build a community of like-minded people, like-hearted people, people who are very similar to us, who are, because you attract who you are, right? And so when we are building a community of like-minded people who have fun with what we do and support one another, while we are helping and serving other people. The next thing, the 4th thing we do is we share responsibility. I share responsibility with my team. I don't expect that I am going to be the only person who is doing all the work, and I don't expect my team to do all the work. We share responsibility as a team as we serve other people together, and we give other people an opportunity to serve other people when we share the load of what we're doing as a team, as leaders. And then the last thing we do is it's the last on my list, but it's certainly not the last thing we do, is we develop people. To me, I ask myself often, and this might be something you want to write down and ask of yourself, is, are people better off because of me? Are the people I'm serving on my team, are the people in my challenge groups, are the customers that I have, or the coaches in my organization, are they better off because of me? So 3 great examples of people who were servant leaders that I just wrote down: Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, and of course, my favorite, Jesus Christ. All 3 of them gave up something to serve other people, gave up something because they cared about people. Now, if we don't care about people in servant leadership, that's going to show. We will end up manipulating and using people if we don't truly care about them for our own goals. And so looking to other people like those three who we respect, who have gone before us, who've shown it's possible, that as they served other people, they were fulfilled in their whole purpose. And that is what we want. So we serve people first, and we value people first, and we add value to them first. So rather than thinking, how can this person has inquired about this business, about the workouts, about any of our products, how can this person help me meet my goals? Instead, if we look and say, what is the experience that I'm creating for people? Am I somebody who is expecting them to jump in blindly? Am I trying to make a blanket announcement of what they need without really listening to them? What is the experience that I'm providing for people? And am I adding value to them before I invite them in? So spending time with people and helping them in your challenge group before you ask them to sign up to a coach. Maybe you might need a new coach that month, but if it's not in their timing, we want to make sure that we are serving them well. We want to help people grow. Are people growing? Are they better off because of us? Are they growing? I put down four ways that we help people to grow, that we can monitor that. Are we staying close and connected with them? Are we seeing that what started out as the solution is still an actively working solution? And if not, why not? And what do we need to do to help them get back on track? Believing in people, telling them, it's a scary thing to start a new business. It's a scary thing to start to lose weight that you've had on your body since you had a baby 20 years ago. It's scary because we failed a lot in the past and we don't want to fail again. And so when we believe in people, show them from our own personal experience and share with them what has worked for us. Bring them along into a community of people where they feel supported and believed in that it's possible for them, because we can extend belief to them until they're strong enough to believe in themselves, until they have enough wins under their belt that they say, you know what, maybe this really is for me. Maybe I can achieve this. We bring solutions. When there are problems, I always tell my kids this, and I tell my team this as well. I just don't like it when I have all these questions and I start to go down a negative path. I like to at least come and bring a solution when I'm coming with a problem. So I like to be somebody who helps bring solutions into their life, and we as leaders do that. We help look for solutions. But then we also, it's not saying that we have to bury our head in the sand and pretend everything's perfect, but at the same time, I never want to bring a problem without at least having an idea of a solution or a suggestion to get the thought processes rolling. I don't want to just be someone who brings a problem. I want to bring a problem and a solution potential. And then do more than what is expected. Part of being a servant leader is I want to know what their expectation is of me. I want them to know what my expectation is of them when we start to work together, and do more than what they expect of me. I want them to have an incredible, one thing I ask all the time is, what is the experience I'm creating for people? Are they enjoying themselves? Do they feel supported? Do they feel cared for? Do they feel like I'm offering solutions? Do they feel like I'm doing it right in there with them? And do they feel like I went above and beyond? Because a servant leader goes above and beyond what's expected of them. We give others what they need, even when they might not even know what to ask, or they might not have the courage to ask because they're nervous. So I ask these 3 questions of people who I am going to be mentoring. Why did they choose Beachbody products? What was the purpose that they chose it? I'm not going to ever make an assumption that I know. Number 2, why did they choose to coach if they chose to coach? Why did they choose to coach and serve others? And why on my team? And so I want to hear what it is, where their heart is coming from. And then, what does a win look like for you? I could assume that everybody wants to be a 15-star diamond, or I could assume that everybody just wants to get their Shakeology covered. That would be a wrong assumption both ways. So we as coaches want to say, what does a win look like for you? And that could change over the months and years, but for right now, in order to help them get a win under their belt, if I'm going to lead them to that place, what does that look like for them? So I'm going to ask 5 things. Number 1, I'm going to ask, what do they expect of me, and clearly communicate what I expect of them in this process, either in a challenge group if they are going to start to work on their health and fitness, or as they enter in as a coach on the team. I want to make sure we both understand each other so that we can blossom and bloom together in what's best for that person. Number two, I want to check in regularly to see if that's changed. Some people are like, yeah, I want to kill this business. And then they're like, you know what? I really need to just focus on me. I'm having a hard time working on myself, let alone inviting anybody else in. That's important that we check in with that so they don't have to feel like they keep faking it because they originally said something, and even though the plan changed, they're obligated to stick to that plan. No way. A servant leader is like, asks, how can we serve you in the best way in where you are right now? And then then I ask myself, how can I go a little beyond that? Then I ask, how can I exceed expectations for my customers and my coaches? I'm constantly asking what I can do better for them, and I'm hoping and asking them to do the same. I ask that they're asking how they can best help and serve the team, how they can be a part of everything, because I'm asking that of how I can serve my team, how I can serve my customers, and how I can serve the person who signed me up. Then I want to ask my team, how can they exceed expectations? So if I assume that this is the level of how we treat our customers and clients in our challenge groups or our coaches on our team, but I never clearly communicate that to my team, they might have a completely different idea of what that looks like. And so I want to make sure that I ask my team how they can exceed expectations and kind of workshop that together. In that way we grow together, because they have sometimes ideas that are like way beyond what I would have thought, and I get better because of that, and vice versa. And then I would love to have people on my team or in my groups who take personal responsibility for their behaviors, but also for delivering to people what they promised and delivering what people need, and then some. So it's like, I want us all to take personal responsibility. I've never once said, well, I wish my coach would do this. No, if I want something, I will say, hey, is there any way I can get that you would be willing to do X, Y, Z? Ask. And so what I want to do is take personal responsibility for myself. This is my business. This is my body. I want to take care of myself, and I'm going to ask for what I need to get better. I learned that from Tony Horton a long time ago. I'm going to ask from people how I can get better. And I'm going to ask from people if they can do something for me, like, could you help me with this that can make me better? I want to be better. Can you help me with this? And then I'm going to also turn around and say, I want to help you get better. What can I do to serve you? How can I best support you in this? Because again, it always comes back to, are people better off after having worked with me, as a result of working with me? So ask, how are people experiencing you? How are you expecting too much? Are you expecting things of them without actually serving them? You know, a lot of people on my team sometimes, because I'm a mom of a large family and our team has a family feel, people have said to me, you know, oh, I wish you could adopt me, kind of joking, tongue in cheek. But the reality is, I don't want people to view me as their mom. A servant leader is a better example of that, because we aren't their parent. They are in control of their own body and taking care of their body and their health, and they're learning to make better decisions with those tools. And I just want to be a support piece to serve them in that journey, but I also want to lead them with my example by taking responsibility for myself, showing them that it can be done in very clear, duplicatable steps, and asking them how I can best support them. 2 things in closing. I want to have a heart of a servant. In my 20s, I really prayed for probably 3 years, just that for a love of people. So we will, like I said before, we will use and manipulate people unintentionally or maybe intentionally if we don't really care about them. And we have no business leading people if we don't love them, or at the very least care for them and want the best for them. So we have the heart of a servant. And then every feeling wants to have an expression, right? So we want to have the hands of a servant, where we help other people succeed. And the ripple effect of that is we first lead ourselves, and then we lead in our family and in our community and our business, and the ripple effect just goes out, and we will never see the full effect of our servant leadership, but long term. But we will see it up close and personal in those people who we care about, help them get some wins, and really establish what it is that they want for themselves and for their life, and to help them get it. And in doing so, our lives are fulfilled. Our purposes are fulfilled. Servant leadership.